must be the greatest. I told the world, I thought the God ever gave. The best ever.
Welcome to the DL Boxing Podcast. I am your host, Coach D, along with co-host Bad Chaz and neighborhood hero Ryan Rios, where we talk about the sport you and I love, boxing. This is episode 32. Thank you guys for tuning in. We greatly appreciate all our viewers. Neighborhood hero Ryan Rios, how you doing today, man?
Oh, man, I'm doing great, man. We get to talk about this fight recap with Zhang and Joyce, man. Really good fight. Also, too, man, we get to talk about the fight coming up, the huge fight coming up this weekend with Tank and Ryan.
That's
man,
right.
I can't wait.
We cannot wait. Bad Chaz, tell our viewers what else we have in store for them.
Oh, man, you guys are in for a treat tonight, man. We're going to tap into the classic fights from the vault.
Yes.
We're going to talk about Jimmy Smith versus Tony Mosco.
Yeah, definitely. All right, guys, well, it's time to recap the fights. And let's recap the fights that happened last weekend on ESPN Plus out of London. The co-main event was the return of Mikaela Mayer making her lightweight debut against last-minute replacement Lucy Wildheart. Mayer earned a 10-round unanimous decision. Bad Chaz, how did you see Mayer's performance that night?
Oh, you know what? I wasn't really excited about, the last minute fill in, but you know what? Like sometimes those are some of the best fights that we get. But as far as Mikaela Mayer's performance, I think that she looked busy. She had, definitely more volume of punches throughout that fight, and she remained consistent. Wildheart though, she looked like she was, she stayed locked in and she was present during the fight, so she always kind of looked like she was, possibly lethal and stuff. So I think Mayer did a good job and ultimately won, but it would have been nice to kind of see Mayer maybe get her out of there a little sooner.
Yeah, that would have been a treat. Wildheart was game. Neighborhood hero Ryan Rios gave Mayer a good challenge, especially in 24-hour notice, right?
Yeah.
What things did you like and what things did you not like about Mikaela Mayer's performance?
You know what? Like, first of all, I want to touch on what you guys said is that it was a last-minute replacement. And they're always tricky because you can't really develop a strategy or a game plan. So it's always going to be just on the fly. You know what I mean? But what I liked about Mikaela Mayer, like you guys said, she stayed busy and she showed those skills. But again, I remember Wildheart, she shared our post on Instagram.
Yeah,
so I kind of did some research on her. And man, dude, she was just a tough competitor in CrossFit too. So I was like, I knew she was going to be game. I knew she was going to be tough. And Mikaela Mayer, it didn't surprise me that she couldn't get her out of there, but I thought she hurt her to the point where it was going to be obvious to the judges who was really the boxer and who wasn't in that fight. And I felt like she did well. And again, it was just hard to prepare for her. So hopefully, this doesn't happen again, and she gets maybe the likes of Bumgarner or who knows, maybe Christina will jump in the ring with her. Who knows?
Right. And just to add on to that, like you said, Mayer was the busier of the two, definitely threw more combinations. The only thing I didn't like is that she's not using her height, so she's getting hit a lot with punches that I don't think she should be getting hit. So if she wants to challenge the top fighters, like I think she mentioned Serrano, Katie Taylor, she's gonna really have to tighten up that defense. That's the only thing I saw, but quite a nice debut of her lightweight. She was still busy. Had some good pop. She hurt Wildheart in the last round, especially visibly. She shook up Wildheart. So Mayer finished strong, which was a great thing to see. But we'll see what she goes from here. I think, like you mentioned, pursuing that fight with Christina Linartel would be still a great thing to do. As Bad Chaz had mentioned, Linartel holds a victory over Bumgarner. So we were going to see, use that as a gauge to see where Mayer's at. And I think she should still pursue that. What do you think, Bad Chaz?
I think that you brought up a great point, because I think Bumgarner's not really entertaining a rematch with Mayer. Even if she's knocking on that door, I don't think she's going to get it. I think that she needs to take any fights that are going to build up herself to kind of get that fight with Bumgarner again one day, to where, maybe it'll get mandated. I think that, she mentioned Katie Taylor, she mentioned Serrano. She might not get those, but, the fighter that she was arranged to fight, I think that would be the fight that she should do next.
Yeah, we agree. Yeah. So congratulations, Mikaela Mayer, on your victory. All right, guys, let's move on to the main event. Quite a shocker, guys, as Zhilei Zhang delivered a 6-round TKO over the previously unbeaten Joyce. Man, that shocked me. Neighborhood hero Ryan Rios. Zhilei Zhang's for reals, right?
Oh, he is, man. And I don't know if he fell asleep his last fight because he didn't look like the same fighter.
Right.
And to me, same goes for Joyce.
Yeah.
Because, man, to me, he looked like he was superhuman, dude. Like at that point, I didn't feel like anybody could beat him. But Zhang, man, dude, like he conserved his energy. he didn't waste any punches. Every punch he threw landed.
Yeah.
And man, I was super impressed. And credit to his trainer, man, because he probably like dissected Joyce and said, "Hey, do this, do that," and Zhang did it, man, and he looked good, dude. But again, I was kind of bummed out about the stoppage because I felt like they should have at least went to the end of the round and called it if they were gonna call it and let him finish that round because he didn't seem hurt, but it did seem like he was bothered by his eye a little bit.
Yeah.
But again, great fight by Zhang. Hats off to him. I can't wait to see him fight a bigger name now because he's on my radar for sure, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said, neighborhood hero Ryan Rios. Bad Chaz, Zhang just couldn't miss with that straight, powerful left hand, right? He nailed Joyce right in that eye. And right from the first round, he got his respect, hurting Joyce right away, which I love when fighters do that. It just gives way for how the fight's gonna, potentially go. And sure did he get his pound of flesh on Joyce, battering him, giving angles to where Joyce just couldn't block any of Zhang's punches. He just couldn't miss, right, Bad Chaz? How'd you see that, man?
You know what, Joyce, man, I had the wrong prediction. Talking about the
We
last
all did,
episode,
man.
I thought Joyce was going to come in strong and kind of outwork, Zhang in the stamina department and catch him in the later rounds. But man, Zhang came in with a beautiful left hand that couldn't avoid the head of Joyce. Joyce just couldn't move his head off the line, and it just matched up well with the southpaw from Zhang. Yeah, I think that he did great, and I want to say that he's like the first world champion for like China. They were mentioning something like that. So. Huge respect to him, and he's just like a big leader over there, and the country's just got his back, and I can't wait to see what happens next. I don't know, who do you guys think that would be?
Yeah,
a
he
good matchup
definitely
for him?
shook up the heavyweight division. I think Zhang would be a great fight for Anthony Joshua, any of the top three. Tyson Fury, he
Andrew
called
Ruiz.
out. Andrew Ruiz, Wilder. Big Baby, Jared Anderson. So all these fights are great fights for Zhang. So congratulations to Zhilei Zhang on your victory. All right, guys. Well, it's fight week. All right, guys. Well, this weekend, guys, is pretty much the date we've been looking for this year, right? This is like the Super Bowl of boxing, and I'm talking about none other than Gervonta Tank Davis versus Ryan Garcia. But before we get into that fight, guys, let's take a look at the undercard. We have the 19-year-old Elijah Garcia, 14-0 with 12 knockouts. He will take on Kevin Salgado, 15-1-1 with 10 knockouts. Let me tell you, neighborhood hero Ryan Rios, Elijah Garcia seems like the real deal at just at the tender age of 19, right?
Yeah, he does, man. He's super poised, dude. And just really like, even when he's under pressure, dude, he's still calm. You know what I mean? And that's rare. You know what I mean? And I just love everything he does in the ring, dude. He's very, very, very calculated on what he does. He's tough as nails, man. And like this Kevin Salgado, though, he's 15-1. So, I really don't know a whole lot about Salgado, but I hope it's somewhat of a test for Garcia, just for the fact that I want Garcia. He's one of those fighters that could be on that fast pace.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't mind him getting a title shot in the next maybe year and a half or so, man.
Yeah. Well said, neighborhood hero Ryan Rios. Also on the undercard, Bad Chaz, we have the rematch. Gabriel Rosado versus Bektemir Melikuziev. Of course, in the first fight, Bad Chaz, Rosado landed that picture-perfect right hand on Melikuziev, knocking him out in the third round. How do you see this rematch playing out, Bad Chaz?
You know what? I think Becker, how do you pronounce his
Bektemir?
name? Bektemir. I think that, this is the fight that he's been wanting, you know what I mean? And I think this is a great opportunity for him to come back and seek his revenge. That was a pretty brutal knockout that he suffered from. So this is going to show some true heart, to kind of get back in there and pick up where he left off. I think that Gabe Rosado, man, he's just he's a great fighter. I love watching him fight. I know he's coming off of a few losses, but you know what? He shows up to work and he shows up on weight. You know what? Huge respect to him, and I'm looking forward to watching this fight.
Yeah, absolutely. Neighborhood hero Ryan Rios. We were expecting Rosado to fight Zurdo, but of course we everybody found out that Zurdo didn't make weight, so that fight fell through. So that he gets this fight. It's a big fight with a rematch with Beck the Bully. Can Rosado land that right hand again, man, in this rematch?
Man, you know what, dude? Beck the Bully's the real deal, dude. I seen him fight live, dude, and those body shots are just
he's a great body
brutal,
puncher.
dude, paralyzing. But man, again, like I'm rooting for Rosado, dude. I want to see him do the same. And he's just like a true life Rocky to me. You know what I mean? Like he'll go in there, he'll bang, he'll get beat up, and he'll come back. And you know what? But I see Beck the Bully just being too much for him. Just going to the body, just going upstairs, and it could be a short night, dude. But again, Rosado's game. I'm going for Rosado, but I mean, if I had to bet money, dude, I definitely bet it on Beck the Bully, man.
Yeah. Well said. Rosado, bad chance coming off of 3 losses. So this is probably a good time for Melikuziev to get his revenge on Rosado, right? What do you think?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that this is a good opportunity for both of them, So
Right, that's right.
I think that you can't really go wrong with this fight.
Yeah.
And then, the winner, hopefully, Zurdos can come back around, and then maybe Beck the Bully can get an opportunity at that.
Yeah, absolutely. So don't miss Rosado versus Melikuziev, the rematch on the undercard, guys. All right, guys, moving on to the co-main event of that night, we have Cuban sensation David Morrell Jr., 8-0, 7 KOs. He will take on Yamaguchi Falcao, who is 24-1-1 with 10 KOs. David Morrell, neighborhood hero on Reels. He's quite a fighter, right? How do you see this fight coming out?
With just 8-0, man. Like he's again like another Elijah, man. Just he does everything right, dude. He stands in the pocket, he trades, he can box, he has good defense, he just has power. David Morrell's the real deal for sure, and I just think he puts a beating on his opponent, man. I hope it's not as bad as the beating he put on his last opponent, but I can see David Morrell looking impressive, man.
Yeah, and that's what he's, I'm pretty sure what he plans to do. Bad Chaz, with the win, Morrell puts his name in the hat for potential matchups against such fighters as David Benavides, Charlo, Andrade. What do you see? What do you think about that, man?
Oh, you know what? I think that it's great for boxing. It just gives it a little more excitement to look forward to, another top tier fighter, because I think that he's a real deal. Like you said, he fights in the pocket. He knows how to exchange, knows how to throw combinations, he knows how to break down his opponent. And I just think that he's a real threat for the division. Yeah. And they might not want to entertain that fight, probably within a year or two, but I see him coming around to where eventually he'll get those fights with the bigger names, and a lot of people will learn about him.
Yeah, nicely said, Bad Chaz. So don't miss David Morrell versus Yamaguchi Falcao. All right, guys, it's time to talk about the main event, and that is none other than Gervonta Tank Davis, 28-0, 26 knockouts, taking on King Ryan Garcia, 23-0 with 19 knockouts over 12 rounds, guys. We're everybody's stoded about this fight.
Heck yeah.
Everybody we talked about, they were quite unsure who might win, but I think the betting odds are in favor of Tank Davis, right?
For sure.
Yeah, he's a favorite in that. Bad Chaz, how excited are you about this fight?
Oh man, it's been a lot of anticipation.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
sure.
This is a fight that I think about every day, and I'm just kind of, I'm finally getting to watch it. And, I see Tank, he's fought, a little bit higher level of opponents, I would say, where I would say he probably earned a little bit more of his record. And I think that he's the real deal. I mean, he gives up some of the rounds, but he kind of baits in his opponent, and he doesn't really fatigue. And then he kind of waits for an opportunity and finds their weakness. And he has great movement around the ring, upper torso movement. Ryan Garcia, he has a really fast hands, both hands. He possesses speed and power. And, he's young, more youthful, and he's hungry, and he's coming into this fight just super confident and like a spiritual confidence. Like nobody can take it from him or take him out of he's locked in.
Yeah,
definitely.
And that's beautiful. The whole rematch clause, as far as the speculations go on that, it's like 4 pounds or something. I don't really know if that's going to actually be I don't know if it's going to actually be more of a physical issue, more than it's just more of a mind game. Yeah. It's like a war like that these guys are having going on with themselves. Ryan Garcia, he doesn't really have much upper body movement, so he kind of slides back, to kind of miss punches and stuff. So I don't know if Tank's going to have something in store for him to kind of get him to expose himself or kind of open up an opportunity for him, or, hey, maybe Tank's going to lean in or come in and catch something that he didn't expect. And it's just, it's going to be a knockout night, and the fans are winning.
Yeah, great analysis, Bad Chaz. This is a 136-pound catch weight. Neighborhood Hero on Rio's conventional wisdom says that Gervonta Davis should have the experience to beat a young Ryan Garcia. Yeah. But I think Ryan Garcia has that X factor, right? That unknown about him, right? Yeah. And that confidence that Bad Chaz just mentioned, that he's convincing me as I hear him. It's pretty great to hear. But just to give you a little background, Neighborhood Hero on Reels, Ryan Garcia's last 5 fights consist of Francisco Fonseca, Romero Duno, Luke Campbell, Emmanuel Tago, and Javier Fortuna. whereas Gervonta Davis's last 5 opponents consist of Leo Santa Cruz, Mario Barrios, Isaac Pitbull Cruz, Rolando Rolly Romero, and Hector Garcia. So you would probably lean that experience over to Tank Davis' side, wouldn't you think? What do you think about their last 5 fights?
You know what? I would, like you said, I would definitely lean towards Tank with the better opponents.
Yeah.
But again, dude, I don't even know where to start with this fight because I play it over and over in my head. You know what I mean? Like if I'm fighting and, sometimes I'm thinking man, Ryan can't beat Tank. And then I'm thinking well, man, like you said, Ryan has that X factor, man. He has all the intangibles, dude.
Yeah.
Like you said, he has that spirit in him. He has that confidence. He has that motivation, dude.
Yeah.
Everything that I like to see in a fighter, Ryan has. And, maybe Tank comes in a little overconfident. But after playing that fight over and over in my head, one fight that sticks out in my mind is when Tio fought Lomachenko. And how Tio just came in, just locked in, stole the early rounds. And Loma was just playing catch up after that. And don't get me wrong, Loma hurt Tio and Loma came on strong. But then Tio got that second win.
Right.
And Tio came on even stronger and ended up beating Lomachenko, which we all thought couldn't happen.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I see Ryan doing that. And I honestly don't think it's going to be a knockout. I think Ryan wins maybe a split decision or something along those lines. I don't see a knockout just because they're going to be so smart in that ring. It's going to be a chess match, and Ryan's going to dictate the pace of that fight and maybe frustrate Tank. But man, again, who knows? That's just what I'm thinking. But I'm definitely love both fighters. I'm definitely don't see anybody losing. They're both superhuman. I'm a fan watching this fight. Yeah. But I'm wanting Ryan to win, and I think he wins by decision, man.
Yeah, he's super confident. Gervonta Tank Davis coming in with the experience, like you said. Ryan with that X factor. It's just going to be a great fight. Styles make fights, right? We didn't think Zhang was going to beat up Joyce, and all the other fights that have happened this year. We've had quite some upsets already. Mm-hmm. So, I think this is a fight for both of them to prove that they are who they say they are, and we just cannot wait.
Yeah.
Catch Gervonta Tank Davis versus King Ryan Garcia this Saturday, April 22nd.
Don't miss it, guys.
All right, guys, well, it's time for another episode of Classic Fights from the Vault. And boy, do we have a classic fight for you guys. And it's the legend of Jimmy Smith. What can I say about this guy? He was a heavyweight from the 90s. Just a gym legend, really. Yeah. Stories coming out of the gym saying his herky-jerky style would mesmerize these heavyweights in the gym, and he would just knock them out after they were hypnotized. Word on the street was that he had knocked out guys like Riddick Bowe, Ray Mercer, Tim Witherspoon. And after that, man, nobody would allow him to visit their gyms. They're like, no way, man. Everybody would hear Ryan Rios. Remember reading about that?
Oh, yeah, I do, man. And he was just a real deal, dude. Just looking at the presence, he had this presence about him, dude. He was just a larger than life character, man. And I'm very familiar with Jimmy Smith, man.
Yeah, and that story with Mike Tyson.
Oh, yeah. I just remember since that incident happened at one of the gyms, and Jimmy Smith just put a beating on a guy. Jimmy Smith would never wear headgear. And all his opponents just requested headgear, but it didn't matter. He laid them out. And I remember Mike Tyson's coach went and said, no, he's not fighting my guy.
Kevin Rooney.
So Mike Tyson never got to see the likes of Jimmy Smith.
I remember that. I actually read an article. Mike Tyson, I guess he had nightmares about him and stuff. He didn't want nothing to do with him. Like he was literally a lethal legend that a lot of people don't get to hear about.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah, everybody talked about him, man. And so he compiled a fantastic amateur record of 3-0, guys. So Jimmy Smith, everybody's like, we want to see Jimmy Smith in the actual ring, right? With people in attendance, right? Yeah. Instead of hearing all these gym stories. Yeah. And boy, people were clamoring for it. And so Jimmy Smith makes this tune-up fight against Tony Mosco.
Yeah.
Guys, but before that fight, Jimmy Smith was, his popularity was already at an all-time high. Yeah. As you're saying, he was getting endorsements from
Aquanet.
Exactly right.
I want to say he was in... he featured his first acting debut was in Boogie Nights or something like that.
Right? Absolutely. Right. Yeah. So maybe part of his mind wasn't, fully on boxing.
Yeah.
But he was, nonetheless, he wanted to show the fans what he was all about. So he took on the undefeated Tony Mosco in a heavyweight bout, guys. And let me tell you guys, this was one for the books.
Yeah. Real treat, man.
Real treat. Everybody was saying, Smith is going to smoke Mosco, right?
Yeah.
His
We all
herky
thought- I
jerky.
thought
Yeah,
that.
we all thought that. His herky jerkiness was just going to, again, mesmerize Mosco, and then Smith was just going to land that knockout blow because he had that one punch knockout power. Bad Chaz, how'd the fight go, man? It was a real shocker.
Oh, you know what? But you know what? Jimmy Smith started off fast.
did.
He showed his beautiful feints. He showed his movement in the ring. And man, was I fascinated. But man, was I not expecting the upset that was around the corner.
That was a big shocker. Mosco, that neighborhood hero Ryan Rios, he started to get mesmerized, right? You could almost see that, what Smith was trying to do in that ring. But no, Mosco lands a huge right hand, sparking Smith out, guys. Everybody stood up. Everybody was in awe and disbelief. Smith goes down like the Statue of Liberty, flat on his back. Neighborhood hero Ryan Rios, I remember you jumping off the couch and you were like, I can't believe this.
Yeah, dude, like Yaya McClain says, like he went out like in a Jesus piece, man. And when I seen like Tony Moscow just kind of like look over him like in disgust, like I was just like, whoa, dude, like have some respect for that, man. That's a living legend right there. You know what I mean? And I just figured, Jimmy Smith would just bounce right back up and just go back to war. But that wasn't the case, man. Tony Moscow caught him with a shot he didn't see coming, and Jimmy Smith always took his shots well. But I want to say there was a rehydration clause in that contract.
Right. I
think
to
you're
where
right,
to where he couldn't like come over like 3 pounds over his
petty,
weigh-in.
huh?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Ross
dude,
Moscow
so-
wouldn't have fought him. Yeah.
No, I don't think he rehydrated well. And you guys all know when you're not rehydrated, like when you get hit with that shot,
Yeah.
there's no coming back from it.
Yeah.
So if that clause wasn't in there, and also too, I want to say there was another clause where Tony Moscow took the whole purse of that fight.
Yeah.
And that was
Shouldn't
one of
have
those
done it,
fights
huh? Yeah.
that we were just like in awe of. And Jimmy Smith was definitely the A side, and style makes fights, like we all know, dude. And Moscow came in with the perfect game plan and just set up a brutal shot. And we didn't even see it coming. You know what I mean?
Absolutely not. But the thing is, or the worst part of it, Bad Chaz, was he lost a big 7-figure payday.
Mm-hmm.
They were talking about, he was getting ready for a fight with Jorge Kawagi.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we were like, no, we don't get to see this
It was
fight.
just a tune-up fight,
Yeah,
man.
this was just a tune-up fight to get everybody excited about it. And how would a fight between Jimmy Smith and Kawagi been
man.
amazing, right?
Did we miss out on something? And timing is everything, and these fighters, you can't wait around, and that was one of those fights that we were all wanting to watch, man, and it just didn't happen. And you know what? I still think about it, from time to time, that would have been just one of the biggest fights, of that decade, or one of those fights that, just maybe comes around every 20 years, man. But you mentioned the stipulations in the contract, man.
Yeah.
And and then you mentioned his business outside of the ring, and just all that pressure that he was undergoing and stuff, and man, it must have just had been a factor on his performance that night. But you know what, his hair and his mustache was on point,
Dude, you're right.
Yeah.
And you know what?
Yeah.
The 90s was a different time, dude. The sport was a lot different, dude. That's when men could be men. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And but you guys I'm going back to that fight with Jorge Kawagi, man. Like
Right. Which
Jorge
we think-
Kawagi built Dubai for that fight. That's
Yeah.
why Dubai is like one of the meccas of boxing, is because Jorge Kawagi specifically designed that to face Smith.
Yeah, right.
You know what I
It was
mean?
gonna be huge.
Yeah.
Huge. Kawagi, we featured on our episode 15. In case you guys want to go back and watch Kawagi in action, another just awesome fighter, legend.
one of our top 5.
Yeah, exactly.
Pound for
That's
pound.
episode 15, guys. If you guys want to watch that first installment of Classic Fights from the Vault. Well said, guys. Well, it was not to be. Jimmy Smith went on to do some great things, as far as endorsements, commercials. He had the whole hair, the look, for superstardom in that area. Well, there you go, guys. That was another episode of Classic Fights from the Vault. Hope you guys enjoyed. All right, guys. Well, that concludes our podcast. Any shout outs we want to make, guys?
Yeah, I'll shout out Tristan Kalkruth. I've been chatting with him today, and just a good kid, dude. Big fan of him. He's gonna fight on the Ryan Tank undercard, dude, and just wish him the best of luck. Handle your business, man. Looking forward to it.
Absolutely, all the best, man. Bad Chaz, any shout outs?
Oh, you know what? I just want to wish the kids in Hanford from Hanford Pal good luck this weekend. You know what? I'll be out there helping them wrap their hands and stuff.
Awesome,
and,
man.
Good luck on your guys' fights, and you guys have us in full support.
Yes,
absolutely. And we want to thank again you, the viewers. Thank you for supporting the channel. We want to shout out sound guy Rob, cameraman Liam. Thank you so much for your work. And with that said, guys, I am Coach D, along with Bad Chaz and neighborhood hero Ryan Rios. And we're out, guys.